Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6 of All This Science, the science podcast that explains one science concept in 5 minutes, raw and unedited. Today I'm firmly planted because we are talking about botany, the study of plants. Specifically, I was asked, can dogs get poison ivy? The answer is yes. Thank you. Please subscribe to All This Science. Go to bit.ly/allthisscience. Email me at allthisscience@gmail.com or send me a tweet to @allthisscience. Oh, you want a few more details? Well, poison ivy is found predominantly in North America. It is a 3-leaved green plant. The leaves are fairly large. If the vine has both 3 and 5-leaf systems, it's not poison ivy, it's Virginia creeper. Poison ivy will not have thorns on the stems. The stems will be either smooth or hairy, like my beard. Poison ivy is sneaky because it can grow with other plants together. Poison ivy has an alternate leaf pattern, so no 2 leaves share the same spot on the stem. And poison ivy grows just about anywhere, deep woods, by a garage, by telephone poles. It doesn't grow in a mowed lawn for long because the mower cuts off the leaves, and the leaves are needed to make food through photosynthesis. No leaves? It'll die. Now, I'm guilty of letting my lawn grow too long. I have to make a running start with my gas-powered mower and pop a wheelie to cut all the grass, and sometimes have to go 2 or 3 passes through. And it's all pretty weird since I live in a condo. Now, if you get in contact with poison ivy, you might get a rash, red, thick, bumpy patches on your skin. You're touching urushiol, an oily organic resin made in the plants and leaves of the poison ivy. Most people will have an allergic reaction to it. Processing it has an allergen, and the resulting attack on the allergen causes the rash and bumps. In a bit more detail, skin protein molecules latch onto the urushiol molecules, then the Langerhans cells spring into action calling out for helper T cells because the Langerhans cells sense the foreign invader, the urushiol. Some people's helper T cells will shrug things off and say, nothing to worry, nothing to see here, while other people's T cells will say, oh my goodness, we have to attack and destroy the invader. Proteins called cytokines and chemokines and all kinds of kinds and other cells are created and the redness, swelling, and bumps form. To get rid of urushiol, wash your hands and clothes absolutely thoroughly. Also, don't scratch because of more infection possibly happening in a scratch-itch kind of cycle. Best to avoid poison ivy altogether. Leaves of 3, let it be. Hey, that could be a Beatles song. When I find myself in times of trouble, plastered against an old oak tree, seeing poison ivy, leaves of 3, let it be. But what do dogs do? They don't know the rhyme. Well, for long-hair breeds, the protective hair coat keeps the urushiol from contacting the skin, so they don't get the rash, but they do carry the oils on their fur, so you can get the poison ivy by petting your dog. Some shorter-haired dogs might get a skin rash, especially in the muzzle, pit, and groin areas. The treatment? Give a dog a bath. The same goes for cats, by the way. To make things easier, know your environment at all time and try to keep your pet away from poison ivy. Speaking of the outdoors, I was just at the dog park. I had a beautiful time. Next time I'm going to bring my dog. Actually, I've got 2 dogs. Both are rescue dogs. That means I have a social conscience. It's a whole microcosm of society at the dog park. There's the women who take it very seriously. They are like the guardians of the galaxy, the protectors of the park sitting at the central picnic bench. They check the dog's passport, photo ID, priors. They alone can invite you to their Frankfurter parties. And don't even think of leaving the poop on the grass. The guardians see if you try one of those Chris Angel, David Copperfield tricks where you bend down to pick up the poop and instead bring up a bouquet of flowers. In fact, last time they asked me the percentage of flax in my dog's daily diet so they could time when my dog would poop again. At the designated time, they placed a bag by the rump to collect the waste on the fly. I guess better that than collecting the fly on the waste. My dogs are sometimes too jumpy in the park, so we take a long, meandering route to avoid other dogs, sort of like when Billy and the Family Circus scampers through the paper, leaving little black squares everywhere. We don't really need to explore the entire dog park. The first peat-on pole is all they need. We could attach all the leashes to the pole and revolve around it in unison, some sort of Scandinavian, like a maypole. Speaking of ethnic stereotypes, it'll be funny if the French poodle wore beret and ate baguettes. The German shepherd ate Wiener Schnitzel and wore 2 pairs of lederhosen. It's tough to eat Wiener Schnitzel if you're wearing 2 pairs of lederhosen. And the Scottish Terriers voted to remain in the European Union. And that's my exit from this week's podcast. Hope it wasn't too rough on you.